I believe we're just straight up repicking everything. And there you go, you
Yeah,
have that Horus in that support lane being picked up.
and
With
we'll
a
probably see Nike in the solo then versus the Mulan.
Now Kepri's a very good pick into this. I'll be interested to see the Kali and Kepri working together, especially with their ults, having that Kali go in on no health, using her ult, getting a kill, and then being out of position, but having that Kepri revive, being able to pull her back into a more desirable position, helping her out.
Definitely, and I do like the Horus pick. I think it can be strong if you've got the comms to get everyone in that ultimate and just rotate the entire team. It's a very tricky one to pull off though, so we'll see if they've got that team synergy to be able to get people in the right place at the right time.
I think with the Horus pick as well, you can also try and surprise the enemy team by going to attack the Gold Fury and then quickly all getting into that ult and going over to the Fire Giant to catch them off guard as they come over to try and defend the Gold Fury. And just sort of, it gives the game a bit more mobility, and the team really have to sort of adapt to it and try and fight into it and see what they can do. I believe from the team I believe it's a Horus solo into a Nike solo. We have the Freya, or is that Horus? No.
It'd be a Mulan going solo.
And then a Horus support with the Humbat's jungle.
Yeah, I think with Horus and Freya as well, they've both got pretty solid sustain compared to the Kepri Rama, so they can just out heal them.
They've got
Although
that heal.
Kepri's shield will definitely do some work.
It will mitigate some of that damage that's coming through. Now Humbat's is a very, very good pick up here, I think, especially with that ult to try and force people into walls and lock them down. A nice high, as I said before, with the Ares, a beads burner almost, being able to lock down characters and force them to either beads or die in most cases.
I think we saw the same thing last game with that Darji pickup. I think that strong teamfight ultimate from the jungle player can really make a big difference. Whereas obviously Choo have gone for that Kali pick for that more aggression, but she doesn't really offer too much when it comes to a team fight. She's more about the single target, early ganks, getting the kills, and then just trying to reset.
She is that late game powerhouse with the ability to heal off her target. So being able, although she is single target, she can quickly go from one target to the other, especially with that ult giving her the immunity and the ability to just keep fighting in those fights. With this, I think the Discordia pickup is definitely a much more preferable pickup in the mid lane.
Freya taking a lot of damage here from that Rama. They didn't clear the waves. They were really struggling. I think their wave clear is just a little bit stronger, especially with that Kepri ball just trying to deal that little extra damage in these early stages.
Just allowing the Chaos side team to just sort of get some early invades on that Alpha Harpy and just sort of start getting
Chum have only just hit level 2. And so we're going to see Choo-Choo's duo just take that XP, take that little marginal gain, and have the little bit of golden XP to try and put them slightly ahead.
And again, you're seeing the aggression on that Mulan in the early game, just sort of getting that Totem of Choo and just pushing lanes, forcing this Knight to try and fight into it and just not having the same healing and sustain that the Mulan does.
We are seeing oracles being attempted, I think, in the duo side. I think Choo-Choo are going for that very early oracles, put them on level 3. Because obviously they've got that wave clear, they can clear the wave way quicker, and then try and get these other little objectives. Humbat's looking very low in the mid jungle, but I think might just get away from the Kali, obviously with both with the dashes.
Kali's going in for that invade, just trying to get as much.
Very risky move. I don't know if he sees Raijin coming though. He will get picked up there for the first blood to Choo-Choo train.
I think that was a very heads-up play there from the Raijin Nikali, knowing that he had stopped his back and was looking to try and invade, and just sort of stopping the buff and just collapsing on him to be able to take him down for that first blood.
Very impressive play, using that sort of Kali to almost bait the vision so that he was looking the wrong way. Khepri's going to get quite low in this duo lane, but they are just going to try and fight it out with Rama just pumping so much damage out.
I'll be interested to see how this Freya progresses into that mid to late game, getting that damage online, especially in the solo potential with that against that Rama.
Yeah, I do think she'll pick up the usual Ring of Fate first item. I think that'll definitely increase her damage, increase her healing, and really start to see a big difference in that duo lane.
Nike very low there, fighting into some minions, but has got her minions to back her up, but loses a slight bit of gold to tower there. And it just shows the amount of early game pressure that Mulan bring, the heal, the damage, everything she really needs, and then on top of that, the arrow to pull her opposition out of position and into her minion wave, so they just take that bit more damage on top of that.
You can see the first pick there for Chum Bucket's duo. Rama is on his own in lane, so he's going to try and soak up that extra XP. Nike's looking very low. This Mulan's going to aim the shot and just misses. And that's too bad. Even if she pushes her off and just gets more farm, that's still a victory, even if she doesn't get the kill. A lot of grouping in that mid lane. Discordia's not looking so good.
It'll be interesting to see what the Mulan can bring off this now, being able to push the knight down low under tower and forcing her to stay under tower. Whether she can now start proxying waves or maybe potentially looking for buffs in that jungle just to sort of invade and get that little bit extra farm away from the jungler and more onto her.
We'll see a re-engage in the solo, but they're going to break off. I think perhaps once Nike hits that level 5, there might be a bit of a difference. Horus is a little bit out of position with 3 members on him. He will just dash out of there. Kali does take down the Discordia though.
We look on the just sort of the noticing there's an advantage there with the Horus trying to focus down that mid laner with the 3 of them around and just quickly jumping onto that Discordia to lock her down as well. You've got that stun in your kit, being able to keep them still and being able to just quickly output the damage as well as that life steal on that too.
We're going to see a purple buff invade from Choo. Horus probably won't be able to stop it. I think they've already got it there. So they've got that extra level advantage as well.
The level advantage forcing that Freya to be behind ever so more, stopping her from getting online and reducing the threat of her in the game. Very clean solo there from the Mulan solo into the Nike solo.
And you see how patient she was as well, continuously just wearing it down and then just going in for that all-in.
And that's the difference you have between this Mulan with the heal in her kit compared to the Nike, who has decent damage but doesn't have that self-sustain. And you can see on top of the heal, the Mulan's also gone into that health chalice and will further push that. And from that, they've also seemed to have got a invade onto that blue buff to just further push this Nike behind. And like I said,
you can see as well, Mulan's Warrior's Blessing's finished, whereas Nike's is still only on 8 stacks.
I would like to see how this Mulan now progresses that and hopefully tries to push the issue onto more bigger objectives and potentially even the mid-game fights going forwards.
Bit of grouping and fighting around the Harpies. I think Humbats will fear no evil onto the Raijin. Discordia's going to try and pick him up there, but he will use his ultimate to try and beat out of it. He does get hit by the apple though and will go down. Humbats does get taken down by the Kali.
The jungle was just trying to do what they can to mitigate the losses and keep the fight going. A clean 1-for-1 there in the mid lane.
Still anyone's game at this point. We are seeing a little bit of a goal lead from Choo, but it's still pretty close.
I think Chum Bucket are doing a lot better in this game, fighting into Choo, being able to sort of realised where that issue was with that mid jungle synergy and sort of locking down the jungler a bit more.
Oh, and Horus missing that stun dash is a tricky one. CC Freya Whoop won't stop Rama for long as he beats out of it. She will go into the ultimate just to try and save herself.
But Khepri's still got that pull and lock it down with the Rama.
So he waited for that bees until he went for the pluck, because he knew that Rama was following up with the damage. I will see that left tower go down.
And on the right hand side you have Nike again, just getting out pressured by this Mulan, just taking her lead from the early game and taking the advantage and just sort of pushing it as much as she can.
So you say, I think the key here will be whether Mulan can make that impact known in the other lanes as well. We see Choo with a pretty early Gold Fury once again.
He's kept getting very low, whether the Humbats can capitalize. Obviously he's going to retreat and try and farm up into that mid lane. We see the Nike and Mulan coming over. They're fighting in the jungle. I think the Knight's trying to escape and the Mulan's just catching up and doing damage. And it is another solo kill onto that Mulan, onto the Nike from the Mulan.
And I think that's perhaps they didn't have the coverage, but I think this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the ganking after that objective. See if they can try and pick up those kills while the team was low, while they were concentrating on getting the objective.
And you can already see the difference this Horus is making compared to the that Kuzumbo from last game, being able to peel with that, the stun, the knock up.
So he is getting a little bit caught out here. Mike, you're down to the 3 members trying to fight him. And then there he goes. I think because he used that heal dash a little too early, he couldn't use it to get out there. But
he managed to, in falling in that, he saved his jungler's life from the wrath of that Kali, just outputting damage onto him after that gank onto the Raijin.
So you see a little bit of a difference here in the stats. Obviously that Gold Fury putting Choo ahead. And again the extra tower as well on the duo side that they've taken down.
I think, as I said before, Chum are doing a very good job here at trying to stem up the bleeding that happened from last game and sort of realise where the mistakes were and try and fight into it a little bit better.
Yeah, I think if they can weather that storm early on, I think they can definitely make a big impact if they get to that late game.
And you're seeing from the XP difference that Kali has had a lot less of an impact than the Arachne had earlier. Instead, you almost level now on the junglers.
And you see how crucial Mulan missing that bow was as she does go down to the Knight there. It was almost a solo kill, a little bit of help from the Humbats there. Kali will try and get the
fight into the 2v1. Kills across the board there with a mid fight, taking out the Discordia and the Freya, getting that solo kill onto that Rama, just locking him down after he had that advantage on her throughout the game. And I can't
once she's got the ring going, very scary character.
I can't help but feel that ring sort of gives her that advantage there with the attack speed, the ability, like, what's it, 20% magical life steal.
Yeah, and it steals power as well. Big fear no evil coming out from Humbats. Kali will ult in return, and Raijin might just get out of there with Khepri's help.
Kali's going to be in a very difficult position here, being able to lock down quickly with that low health, but the Khepri's there to try and save them. Potentially that ult is still up, but Kali just making
shell come out as well
with that minuscule health.
Ram's going to turn and try and fight them. Mulan will pick him up and he'll take to the skies in response. We're going to try and lock him down as he comes back down, but Nike will be there to pick up the Humbats.
I think the Order side are just going to sort of back off now and take what they've got and try and use that to their advantage in the future. I think a lot of this XP and gold difference you see now is mainly going to be on that support difference from the 7-10. The Khepri just slightly farming a bit better to the Horus, potentially being able to get more buffs or just try and keep his level that little bit closer. I
think that last fight was pretty key in Chum trying to make those plays. You see how much more proactive they were there, trying to catch people out. It's just a shame that obviously Choo just had those dashes online and could just get out of there.
Meanwhile, on that right-hand side, Chum are fighting down that solo to try and take down that tower on the right, and that sort of gives them... Oh, in the mid-game fight, the Discordia has been caught out by the Kepri, and there's a quick Raijin ult to finish them off.
Carly just passing through will be able to get some more damage onto this Horus. He's very out-leveled at this point, and will go down. Pretty look to take the tower down too.
And that just gives the Chaos side so much more freedom into the map, allowing them to safely invade buffs a lot easier and to keep the Order side on their back foot almost. Just freeing up the map and creating less safe places for the Order side to retreat to.
Yeah, I like the way Chum is playing, but I think I think it's in those chase kills that's really important. To try and catch people out. You might see some here. Humbats is just out of time. You see that they're getting to the chase kills just too late, and they managed to escape.
The Rama here going back to lane, but with the Humbats chasing, there could be a gank, but Kali is quickly behind, probably picked out by the Chum Bucket ward over by the Gold Fury, and just sort of retreats, nothing gained, nothing lost.
So Discordia might take the tower in mid lane, fairly unopposed, and Mulan might even take that solo tower as well. So I think they're doing a really good job of getting those split pushes online. So even if they can't win the fight straight up, they can still get the objectives down.
But even while doing that, Choo is noticing that this Discordia is still in mid lane, the Mulan's in that right lane pushing the tower, and they wanted to have a quick look at the Gold Fury, but with a quick response from the Chum Bucket, they quickly retreat.
And I think this is really clever. I think they've realized they don't want to fight. They don't want to, push into these huge 5v5s. They just want to be careful, take the farm when they can, take the structures when they can. Mulan will get a little bit too close and will get caught out. Big Fin Evil again from Humbats, but not so much follow-up.
Horus ult coming in on the back line.
You see the problem here is that Freya and Discordia have been pushed all the way back to tower, so I don't know how much Horus will be able to get off of this. Humbats will re-engage into it, but just to save his teammates. And like I said, Horus just went a little too deep.
Very heads-up play there for Choo, just trying to take any sort of fight they have and then just transitioning over to that Gold Fury to just further cement their lead with gold. Just noticing that Mulan is not quite backed off and still collapsing on her, quickly bursting her down and getting that engagement going for them.
Definitely, we will see Primal Fury go the way of Choo, as they're just going to take their objective back off and reset. Although you see, I think it was a cool play. They realized that the Primal Fury is going down. We can just take the Pyromancer. It's not a fair trade, but it's something.
And that's it. You get something off that, but you've got to realize on top of the Pyromancer, they did also get 2 tier 1 towers off that, which the Chum Bucket were, while looking at the Gold Fury, Choo saw that as an advantage, managed to take those towers and still be there for the fight, just slowly delaying them and stopping the farm they could get to further push up their lead.
Mulan might be a little bit caught out here with a 3-man collapse. Discordia is there to try and back them up.
Yeah, thrown out to try and stop the Kepri damage and slowly limit them, but with a 3-for-1, Mulan is quickly picked up.
That was a tricky one. I think it was just hanging around a little bit too long by the totem there. Got caught out. Kali will take down Humbats in the mid lane. I don't think he was particularly out of position. I think he was just... it's quite difficult for Humbats to duel 1v1, I think, into Kali.
Especially with Kali has that stun compared to the Humbats, which is main bit of CC is his ult, and you don't really want to spend your ult on a single target. You want to save it for those team fights to just try and shred beads as much as possible, so your support can set up for the rest of your team.
So I want to see if this Freya who's currently ahead in the team can actually keep that farm up and maybe make a bigger impact to the team as they start to group up. Although that Horus is only level 9, is very behind at this point. He's got to be careful trying to engage himself. Very nice arrow shot into the Kali there, and Inferno able to try and lock her down, but that Kepri ult will keep her safe as she just jumps on out of there.
Both very low there on the back foot. The Kali and the Kepri both retreating off, and I'll be interested to see if Chum can now try and use this advantage. The 5v3 as they go back to base to try and heal, to try and maybe push down another tower or sort of maybe invade. But they're just going to back off, get their items, and try and move on into the next game fight. I wouldn't
Very
be
tricky
surprised.
position here for Chum Bucket.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to start looking at maybe a fire giant dance to try and dictate the next fight, to slowly push down these tier 2s and the Phoenixes. You have Freya there getting the damage buff, slowly just trying to farm up where she can, but with the 2-man gank coming in, she's just going to retreat off and continue trying to scale into that very powerful late game state she could be in.
Yeah, you see, I think that'll be key here is whether they can get Freya to the right places, perhaps even use Horus ult together there to just shred that enemy team. But if she's, if she's on her own farming up as she's now, perhaps, they can't fight 5v4, and I think Freya's a key part of their offense. It's got to be careful that they don't take fights that they're going to get caught out.
See Choo now starting to start the fire giant, whether that's either to get the fire giant or just sort of force a team fight, but either way they get that 2 for nothing and also get the fire giant as the rest of the retreat.
And you see what I mean here, yeah, Freya's split push there. While it's really useful to keep the pressure elsewhere on the map, I can't help but feel like she's the key to their Chum Bucket's damage at this point.
As you say, I think that Freya is their late game carry, and she's just doing what she can to try and scale into that late game. But with the Choo now seeing that as advantage with the Freya on that left side, trying to battle the Knight, they're just going to push down that right Phoenix. And Chum have almost been caught sleeping here, not being able to back up and help. The Raijin caught off guard on that right-hand side, gets the Kepri revive.
Kali's on her versus 3, will take down one of them.
And get the target.
Humbats is our next target, perhaps. She will take that one down as well, moving on to Horus. We did talk about Kali's ability to just reset and go straight into the next one.
And that Freya still stuck on the left-hand side, fighting that Nike.
And Mulan will also get caught out for a huge quadra kill here. Freya's going to go back and try and defend, but I'm not sure if she'll be able to.
She's still got that Nike just pushing her out of position, not being able to do anything. And a very clean game, I would say, from Choo there.
You see that Kali popping off at the end there is very impressive. I think it's that you saw the decision making change from let's grab Phoenix and maybe back off onto objectives to let's just go straight for that Titan, take it down, go 2-0.
And there you have it. You have that 2-0 from Choo going against Chum Bucket there. And it goes into show you a similar sort of God to Arachne, Kali just popping off, especially with that passive of the when you kill your target, you get a lot of your health back, and being able to just switch between the two, the 3 there, just pushing the targets down and being able to further take that into the fight.
Yeah, definitely. You saw as the Kepri and Raijin backed off a little bit. Kali was just going straight on into 3v1, which it's not many gods in Smite that can do that. But Kali in that late game is so scary. And again, with that passive heal, if she kills her target, it just moves on to the next one. Very impressive display there.
As we see on the details now, you can see the damage output between teams. That Kali admitting that 14k player damage with a stat of 10-0 and 5, just really dominant performance. And across the board, you can see there's also the Ram 3-1 and 6, not as powerful as the previous game, but still outputting that damage into those heavy tank frontliners and just shredding people down on his way through.
Definitely, you see how the level difference was so big by the end of the match. Kali was 10 levels ahead of Horus. And there's not much he can do at that point, being a frontline. I can't help but feel that, the Freya, while keeping up levels, I think Freya could have had more impact in some of those team fights. But obviously she was left trying to keep up the farm as well.
But I felt like on the more positive one, I liked the change Chum Bucket made from that first game to the second game, and sort of slowing down the game a little bit, maybe not towards the end, but being able to realize where the issues were and focus out that jungle and sort of limit the potential that jungler could bring into that late game. Being able to just keep going forwards and sort of supporting their team a bit better and being able to make more heads-up plays towards the game in that second game.
Yeah, definitely. We saw that swap to a more passive play style, more sort of defensive, and it definitely netted them some good results in that duo lane.